Dude, that was seriously great. Oh man, I had to throw that out there for.
All right, what's going on, everybody, and welcome back to the Best in Slot Radio Podcast. It's a podcast focused on Final Fantasy XIV, its game design and features, as well as how it compares to other games on the market. With me, as always, are my two guys, as in Knox. Say hi, boys.
What up?
Welcome back, welcome back, welcome back.
Welcome back. And this is episode number 9, Endwalker update recap / whatever you want to call it, part 3. But as you may have known, if you have been a faithful listener, we haven't been around. Just a real recap real quick, obviously with the holidays, and then I'll let Ez kind of explain his side for however deep he wants to go into that.
I caught the COVID.
That's pretty deep. So... obviously, the implications behind that, we wanted to make sure Ez got healthy and was able to communicate to you guys without constantly coughing on the mic.
I am not dead.
So, let's see where we picked up. So, episode 8, part 2 of the Endwalker recap, we finished off on a cliffhanger, the aftermath of the Elpis storyline. So, you know, just to jog our memories, as we know, guys, we went through Kisses Hyperborea, the little... sneak convergence and hurting Hermes, as well as the mind reset, if you will, and then where we leave Venat.
Yes, me and sympathizing with the big bad sad man.
That's right. Yeah, we were talking about nihilism and how Xenos kind of plays into that. And what was cool is towards the end of that Elpis storyline, obviously with us and Venat having our memory kept active and not wiped like the other two.
Yeah, we closed the loop.
Yeah, which, a lot of people complain about time travel all the time, and this was one of the few examples, I think, in all media where they actually closed the loop so well that you're like, all right, that makes sense.
Yeah, it makes sense. Like, the entire time you are a minor figure walking around Elpis. So none of the other ancients would really kind of pay attention to you, just like they wouldn't pay attention to any other of the major creations. Mm-hmm. And the people that were closest to you, most of 3 of them had their memories rewritten. The villain that got away was gone all of this time, and Heidelin knew, and she was like, "Oh, I remember you. I'm gonna save you, buddy."
Yeah, like how they put that in like a manner where it was nice and neat, where it was like, yep, this is like the impact you had on the timeline, right? Mm-hmm. But then they wiped that, and they clearly made it clear that you didn't have that impact, and then they left the Heidelin aspect. It's just like, oh, thank you for not.
Yeah. Also, to all the haters out there that are like, oh, they made the Answers song just match this, and like they just retcon stuff. Like, no. I don't care if they adjusted things here and there to make the Answer song fit perfectly. It did. And it was an extremely fulfilling moment. That was amazing to just watch the story beats happen.
I think what kills me is, Final Fantasies, we've talked about this before. It's one of the only games I've ever wanted to turn on the music. And people don't, there's this cognitive disconnection almost where they're like, they don't understand that most of this music is written for very particular moments. They orchestrate and make this very purposeful, which is why it's such a master craft. It's why we all love and enjoy this game, and I highly recommend people who don't play with music to get your head out of your ass. So let's move on to what happens next. We get out of Elpis, and now it's time to kind of go tell everybody what the hell happened. Because as you know, we went to the Crystal Tower in order to even get to Elpis in the first place. Now we're back. We return to Charlian and kind of tell everyone what's up.
I fucking love the implication of yeah, dudes, I went back in time and talked with the ancients, and they're just like, yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, no one cared. That was the best part, is everyone was just like, oh, totally, tell us what happened. It's like,
oh, yeah,
you're not blown away?
It's you. Of course you went back in time.
Oh, yeah. I think that's hysterical. And, it's nice that every one of the Scions has essentially formulated its own personality, and so they all have their own little different. Oh, that's very interesting. Oh, weird how you play that, and I like that. You know, it's the boys and the girls together. It's the squad. You know,
Even at that point, or well, at this point in the story, it's very clear that like all the Scions, like their roles are like, well, I wouldn't say set in stone, but really defined. You know,
totally.
Like how Alize is like blazing the trail. Alphino's always the support backup, just covering bases and whatnot. But like how they really emphasize that in the lore aspects is just really spot on.
Oh, yeah. Totally agree. It's it really when you look at your own personal social circle, if you're head smart, you know where you fit in. I mean, come on, like you can't act like you don't. This is the same way. It's crazy to me that a game went so far to define everyone's role without like being like, hey, you do this and you do that. It just has been like a story evolution, and it's been fascinating.
Yeah, the social cues and like how like they don't need to tell you that Oriange is just like the strong, quiet type, right?
Right.
It's literally how they relay it. They've done that over the expansions and now, and how they build him up, so to speak. And same thing goes with Y'shtola and every other Scion from there. Like it's all of them feel really fleshed out.
Yeah, and it feels really good. So then we get a little bit more depth, because obviously this is when we find out. Not only did we already know that Sharlayan's been involved, but what they were building, which is the Ark. So the Ark's fantastic because obviously we know now that we've beaten it, we have this story element that allows us to explore more of our world, if you will. So that easily sets up further expansions. But I think how we
supercharge it.
yeah, I think how it came together is exactly what makes me smile. I think it was one of our first episodes. I think it was you, Knox, who said, "What's the Gleaner's name?" Aaronvel.
Yeah.
Yeah, you were like, I don't know about this fucking guy. I think we were talking on our Discord. You were like, I don't know about him. This is not okay.
Man, we were all wrong.
So wrong.
Dude, how they really linked all expansions with it. Oh, dude. It was so great.
And it's a moment that pays off for people who have played longer. I'm sure the moment was a bit more emotional for somebody who's been playing this game since it came out versus us, I guess, in a sense, where it's a couple of years. The scale of where the Scions themselves have reached and how far their influence spreads is fantastic, for lack of a better way. Like, just seeing everyone kind of come together, great, just fucking great.
Literally scouring the globe.
Right.
And beyond?
Yeah, I mean...
said.
Yeah, that's not another question. What the fuck is this guy's name?
Now thinking in like the Final Zone's like last couple of different races we encounter, like, dude, yeah, you're right. Like,
yeah, it's
like, even the little like tidbits. Because I'll admit I didn't do side quests and major side points that way, but like the Aether quests, if like you pay attention to some of those, like those even have like a really big impact on like that, like the robot people. I'm forgetting their name. I'm sorry.
The Omicrons.
Yeah, the Omicrons.
The Omicrons.
Like, oh man, it's crazy. Like, just those little things all kind of stacked together.
Well, and that's all story building. That's something that they excel at so well. And I think, especially us as WoW players, but other players in the Western side, we're so used to something immediately being face value. Like, we need to know why it's there and what it's for. A lot of people just don't really like the whole, oh man, what the fuck is this? And then, 6 quests later, you're like, oh shit, there it was. It feels like we've been trained as Western players to expect stuff quicker almost. So to have that kind of payoff was just, it shows the level of hard work that has been put in for not only years, but on the game side, like what the Scions have been doing. Because do we know how long the entirety of the story has taken as far as like time goes?
They say in the span of, I think it's like a year.
Yeah.
Okay.
It is a super short amount of time.
Yeah.
So all that in a year?
I think we're also kind of glossing over how it is the Warrior of Light returns, which is we come back and our scions aren't just waiting for us there. True. We find out that they're in Garlemald again. Like Days has spread. It's not just isolated anymore in Razahan. It has hit Garlemald and
badly.
Yeah. So we play as our fellow scions. We're seeing the battle from their point of view, and then we get our hero moment, of course.
Oh yeah, that felt good. The hero moment is fantastic. Because we talk to Lucia again, we get that. I think that quest is like outside help or something like that. Where we're in Garlemald, we kind of check out what's going on. And it's really interesting to see kind of the Garleans have kind of come together and rallied around Lucia in a way where they're like, look, we fucking get it.
They're finally accepting help.
Yeah.
Which is nice when they're on their last legs.
Yep. And that's when that particular moment is when we kind of see. I feel like that's when I was like, all right, Garlemald is not past redemption, I guess is the way to say it.
Yeah.
But I don't know how you guys saw that particular moment.
I think it is going to be a very long road. Because obviously there are people that they can sympathize with the remaining Garleans, but there are plenty of people still that are like, this is Garlemald.
Yep.
Yes, but I definitely feel it's like a step in the right direction where it's like we're no longer enemies. We're just not like buddy kind of like how like with Alamigo and original like Alamegans like that. But the key scene, I forget the character's name and I apologize, but it was like the main protagonist on the Garlean side. He had blue hair.
Yeah.
That guy. But like there was a scene close to the end when like at this point he already betrayed us. And like he was basically like helping us turn the tide, and like it was just a simple nod where it was like, "All right, we're on our part. Like we got this. Moving out."
Oh,
and,
Ulyss.
Yeah, Ulyss.
Sorry, I was like, "Who the fuck are you talking about?"
But no, it's that fulfillment of that crap that Alphino always gets judged for, but then it's like, it works out.
The enemy of my enemy is my friend.
Is my friend.
And,
yeah.
Like, how they played it out in like very visual cues like that, and also like the somewhat verbal aspects of it. Well, and like how they like tied it up in the end and whatnot. But it was great, and I really like that. How it's like a really big like foundation stone for what Garlia or what I guess Garlemald can actually bring to
the table, so to speak,
and like the diplomatic table,
and to bring the Loporrits down to Theris.
Theris, yeah.
And, oh man,
I love this.
Oriange, oh dude. Him being the guide, that was great. Like,
it's I mean it's perfect for Oriange. So this kind of goes into that. One thing I want to highlight is the way that they make non-essential characters still feel a connection to us as the player. The Sicard, I think is his name, the number 2 for pirates. Fighting with fucking Emilian or whatever the fuck that guy is. Ishgard, like pussy boy.
That was great.
It's such a like who the fuck thinks of something like that, but it's so great because I think it's hysterical to just be like they're just talking shit to each other, and you've got this royalty kid who has no idea what it's like to put hard work in, and then this like pirate.
And he's like, "Excuse me, I did some heavy lifting. Thank you very much."
When even he was just like, "Some lifting." It's like, you didn't do anything. You said, "Hey, pick that up, put that over there, figure it out, okay, dude?"
Yeah, like he is still such a little spoiled shit.
Oh
but there's still character progression there.
Yeah.
Like he's not hiding out in his dad's mansion back in his fucking home. He is on the front lines.
Yeah.
Dude,
he was made to go there.
Yeah, exactly. But he was forced into doing it, and he even made it a point like, oh, yes, my brother may have kind of twisted my arm, or how he worded it.
That's because all of us think you're a bitch.
But he still stepped up to the plate, you know? Like,
Exactly.
You gotta give him credit
Props.
for that.
Yeah, props
he
for props
did
to
his
do.
part, so keep on keeping on.
I agree on that one.
I think one of the there are two big moments in the Return to Gollermold scene, other than our hero moment, obviously.
Of course.
And that is Alphino and Alize proving themselves to their dad. Like,
Big
look
time.
at what we
Yeah.
did.
Oh,
Yeah.
This is us.
Yeah.
I got a little teary-eyed, especially when he realized that he's like, damn, you made all these connections across the world when you left here. Like, bring it in. Family hug. Like, that was great.
Was
but not
that?
really, 'cause I mean,
I think it was that one. Yeah. So that is my favorite line of the expansion. Happens in that cinematic. And I think we either talked about it on podcast or talked about it when we were just kind of gushing. It's after the fight's kind of over and they're talking to Fortuno and they're like, and Fortuno's just realizing, holy shit, you've done so much. Everybody runs because they're like, all right, we got shit to do. We got to go. Fortuno's just standing there. And that's when our boy Astinian goes, he'll be coming for your seat on the council next. And just walks away. And it's a simple one-liner, but it's one of my favorites of the entire expansion because I could not have, you think of the Scions. I don't think I would have picked any other Scion to say that line. It's perfect. It's just it just shows the depth and great writing. Great fucking writing.
I just flashed the shocked look on his face when he was just like,
Well, and it's funny because they've talked about it in other cutscenes previous about how like debate is such a big thing and how Fortuno's never been beaten. I really hope they explore that at some point.
I would like to introduce this dumb himbo man.
It's going to be so good.
And the second big point that we got was Xenos.
Yeah. True.
I'm just saying, I totally called that shot. Like, I just throwing it out there. Like,
yeah. That's when initially Alize's having some struggles about the fight with Xenos. She doesn't regret her choice of words, but she also feels impassioned.
A huge moment for both her character and Xenos.
Agreed.
Because it's the first time she's ever used talking. Like she's done it before, but it felt like she went to it first this time rather than I'm going to beat the shit out of this person.
Yeah.
And Xenos actually fucking listened and was like,
yeah. It was just funny to it almost felt like Xenos was like, all right, you fucking child, you've had your moment. Chill, dude.
It was like
so funny.
I don't think I've ever seen Xenos listen to someone and give a shit except for this one time.
See, that, to be honest, that is where I'm saying the point I called the shot. Not the fact that he turned into a dragon and was like, yeah, you're going to ride on me and help. The fact that he had I guess you could say, inexplicable character growth like that. Like, that was the point. I was like, dude, I feel it. Like, he's going to have that point where even now, I feel he's going to, come back somehow, some way, shape, or form.
I fucking hope so. I hope not. I think his ending, we'll talk about that in the next episode, but his ending is as good as it needs to be, in my opinion.
It was good. It was good. I do have to say.
Xenos had his quote-unquote Wrath of the Lich King moment.
Yeah, exactly.
Let him stay gone.
Yeah, that's how I feel as well. So
I can respect both of them. Yeah, I can respect that.
So that leads us to us going back into Labyrinthos. Excuse me. I have literally, I said that my two favorite voice actors of the expansion were non-essential characters. One of them was Hythlodaeus. Great voice actor, just really flowed with that. Yep. The other one we get to meet in Labyrinthos Part 2. Cockle Donkle is the funniest fucking character in this game. He is so funny. It made me, anytime he showed up, I was losing my shit. I have reaction clips of just there's no way this is his voice. Oh my god. I'm just laughing my fucking head off because it's hysterical. This little fucking Lalafell English, Irish, Scottish creation is fucking hilarious. But we meet him. We find out the Ark needs stuff. We retrofit the Ark with everything that's going on.
Yeah, second huge moment that Alphino and Alize proved themselves to their dad.
Yeah.
Like, oh yeah, you need all these super fancy, really unique things. Give me a second. Let me call some boys.
Yeah, let me call my
figure this
boys,
out.
and literally everybody around the globe is just like, "We got your back. You had ours, now we have yours." Like, dude, that was that gave me them goosebumps.
So we skipped over. This is my fault because I kind of jumped the gun. We skipped over two parts. One is non-essential, kind of. The other one is essential that we need to hit. So let's go with the non-essential one first because it happened second. Who's your favorite Loporrit?
Pudding Way. Yeah, I would have to agree with Pudding Way because my original one of Lighting Way was incorrect, and E is correct. Throwing it out there now that it is a title. We are Lighting Way. We are Lighting Way.
We are Lighting. Yeah.
In a sense, I mean, I'm my favorite, but yes, Pudding Way.
So I get why Pudding Way is like the community favorite because it's not just you guys; it's a lot of people. Me, with my extensive career in Cooking Way is fucking adorable, and him going through the little agricultural area while we're figuring shit out in Labyrinthos and tasting shit is absolutely hysterical to me.
I'm sorry, but like the moment where Urianger is having this huge heart-to-heart with all of the Loporrits, and he's like, "And what is your name?" I'm Pudding Way.
Pudding Way. Hilarious
I'm gonna
moment.
need to wipe your memory later.
Yeah. It is a very, very good moment. I think Urianger is the best delegate in that situation, but that's my segue. The other moment, which is important, and I don't know when the first time you cried through the expansion was, but I cried during this, and I might tear up now. The emotional exchange between Urianger and Mumbrida's parents fucking ruined me. I logged off for the night. I had easily another hour to play, but I logged off. I just, holy shit, what a moment. Because that could have gone either way, like what happened or what could have happened. And just to see Mumbrida's mom like hug him and call him an idiot, perfect. Fucking perfect. Yeah, I'm tearing up just thinking about it. It was a good moment. Urianger, as an Astro main, Urianger, like, that's my boy.
I mean, I think I got like emotional tears just like because I got emotional about it like during the Heidelin Answers theme. Because I think Final Fantasy XIV is one of the few games that has made me listen to the music and pay attention during it.
Yeah.
And like I'm watching the scenes happen and her recite the lines and also the music singing the lines at the same fucking time.
Yep.
And I'm just losing my goddamn shit.
And that
just
emotional
that,
cue.
like the crescendos of the music are so well placed. Like
It's a story building, but musically, and it's it's why like old like operas and stuff like of that nature, like plays and stuff. Music is a big way to convey emotion, and there's a lot of emotion in that scene. I mean, especially if you have any personal ties, which not directly what happened 1-to-1 with that, but I do have something similar, and it was just like, holy shit, this is a big moment. And that's. ARR is when Moonbrido's taken from us. Like, that's 4 expansions later. What a build.
I would definitely say the Moonbrida scene was the first, like, oh, this is an ugly cry moment.
Yep, big time. Like,
oh my god, this is so sad.
Yeah, I was like I said, I logged off early, which I almost never do. So, I'm tearing up. It was a great moment. It felt really good. But that moves us down into going after the next portion, which is the next trial. Because we get the arc completed. Or no, does the trial come first or the dungeon comes first? Dungeon comes first. So we get the arc finished. However, we need to communicate with Heidelin beforehand to figure out what the fuck we're like truly supposed to be doing. Yep. And I found it very interesting that the whole reason Old Charlian is built where it is because that's their other gateway to the Ethereal Sea.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
very specific.
I do have to say the dungeon felt very Segway-ish. You know,
Oh, totally.
especially when actually getting to and like the actual meat of like the trial coming up.
Mm-hmm.
But like, I liked it. The gameplay was fun. You know,
Yeah.
it wasn't anything like annoyingly challenging, but it was some interesting difficulty.
It's definitely one of my favorite dungeons.
Yeah.
One, the callbacks to all of your friends that have passed away along the way.
That's a big one.
And then also the callbacks to old enemies you fought. You fight 2 different bosses that worked with the Black Wolf back in AAR.
Right.
The dude with the shield and the crazy lady that was like, "You can't have him!" Which is a big redemption for both of them because they're kind of pushovers, even though they were made out to be badasses, especially the dude with the shields.
Yeah.
And then we get to fucking fight him on again. And it's awesome.
Well, so
dude,
before
before
we dive into Amon, I want to change how we perceive this conversation. As I told you guys with Elpis, I started looking up words. Did either of you look up a Tiascope?
No.
Okay, I did. The front portion, the AITIA, Atia, is basically a way to describe an ancient Greek mythological origin story. So,
wait. So, what is the premise of this origin story?
So, no. It just the generalization of an origin story. So, not any particular one.
A filter or viewing aspect
Exactly.
of
an origin story. So the implication of us fighting Amon as our final boss and everything that comes with that, as well as that cutscene at the end, really closes that. Like, we get to see how Amon started, where they got to when we first fought him, and then where they're at now, all through the Ethereal Sea. It completely changed how I viewed the dungeon. It is, I just loved how they closed Amon's story and the conversation we had at the end of it.
Oh, wow.
Very, very emotional conversation.
Just that like actual breakdown of like just the name that really actually kind of pulled it all together for me. Damn.
Yeah, it's very like I said, it's very different. But that chat really changes perspectively when you realize like they are basically the origin story of Fandaniel and Amon embodying taking Fandaniel's seat, right?
Was that in a way, yeah.
In a way, okay, yeah. But I mean, I don't know how you viewed that conversation, but that conversation was fantastic.
I really like the way you are talking about the Aetioscope. Like, I guess another way you might be able to think about it, and this might not be true at all, but in a way it could also be the beginning of our new story. Mm-hmm. Because at the end of that is the trial. Right. And, like, obviously if we want to move forward, Heidelin's got to go.
Yep. And that's the thing is, so... Like Ez just said, is this the start of our origin story where like we truly become legend? Because I think it is, because look what happens after we finish everything. The world is saved. No one's never going to not know the 8 of our names, if that makes sense. You know, the 7 Scions and us. And so that could easily be how our origin story with Atiascope really starts. You know, it's very poetic how they kind of snuck all these Greek words in and really kind of were just like, hey, little Easter egg for you if you were paying attention. It's great.
One more thing before we go on to Heidelin's trial, though, is fucking Asahi. That little
my god, that fucker. Fucker.
How dare you use my body to hurt Zeno-sama? I'm gonna put you in hell forever.
I'll kill you.
I fucking hate Asahi so much.
It's very annoying. The kind of that ending. It almost felt anticlimactic to have that happen. I
get it, but also at the same time, but like it makes sense, and I'm glad it was a thing. Because as much as I fucking hate Asahi, he's right. Like, his whole life's purpose was dedicated to Xenos and making him... Like, even if Xenos thought of him as less than nothing, that didn't matter to him.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah.
But it's
I
like,
just. Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
oh no, but it's like so yeah, it makes sense that in the afterlife he would show up one last time as like fuck you, you're going to some whatever hell with me.
Well, so the final two lines I think are very very important. So Fandaniel, Hermes, Amon, their final line is the tale of Hermes, the man who knew so much yet understood so little, ends here. I think that is really just a great callback to how he was trying to really understand the idea of killing something that he raised when he was in Elpis.
See, I want to expand on that a little bit, just for the point that like he understood so little to the fact that he created a life form, a Meteon, right?
Mm-hmm.
That was their sole purpose was to expand and understand the civilizations of the cosmos,
Right.
but they had nothing to compare it against. They were not meant to understand or learn from this like civilization and lifestyle to compare against the lifestyles
Right.
out there, literally to just understand and analyze what's out there. So of course
Yeah.
they came to their conclusion as they did when they don't understand what the control
I mean, he
base
posed
is, you know?
Right.
such a
Yeah.
vague question. Obviously Emmett puts it perfectly when he's like, did you ever take a second to consider what happens when you ask them what the meaning of life is and it's not fucking good?
Right. Well, and the question was too broad. They touch on the fact that they left the question almost open-ended. So that understanding of not knowing how to give them such a directive, if you will, it's just Emmett's line. It hits just really, really hard. And then so that brushes into the final line of Asihi, which is, "Do not follow me. I've had more than my fill of you lot in life, let alone in death." Which to me makes me like jump for joy that I'm never gonna have to deal with that character again.
Yes.
Like short of running that dungeon and not watching that cutscene because you only get it once, I don't have to deal with him anymore, which is fantastic.
Yes.
So that's really nice.
Props
And
to the voice actor for literally making me hate him.
yeah,
Still,
well,
like, I don't want to deal with it.
yeah. Let's not tangent too far, but Game of Thrones, Joffrey, the actor, after his audition, they were like, "Congrats, they hated you." Like his agent came out and said that. And like I don't know if you guys have watched it, but I fucking hate that character, and that's exactly what they did in 14. Is they made him such an unlikable character and stuck to that narrative instead of commonly giving people redemption or heroic or anti-heroic finishes like they did Xenos. It feels good to know that I don't got to deal with it.
See that? Oh man, you hit on it. I gotta go back to it. Like,
Yeah.
that's the thing. Like where like they placed breadcrumbs with Xenos not really all along the way, but like end of Stormblood, like early Shadowbringers. Like there was things where like it just felt like he was conflicted in the fact that he wanted to prove himself to us, not to prove himself to like meet his end goal of whatever fucking. And the destruction of the world. Like, no. He felt a distinct tie to us for some reason. And at the end of the day, it was to help us meet our mutual goal of actually just surviving. Like, I don't know. That just really sealed the deal for me.
Absolutely.
I still am in the corner of Xenos as a fucking sociopath.
Oh, totally.
Hey,
he is.
He is.
Yeah.
Like,
he is.
I can definitely agree with Xenos having conflicting feelings and a deep, deep sense of apathy. But one of the strengths I've always liked about Xenos' character is that he is the apathetic guy that does not give a shit or think sad thoughts.
Yeah.
Like, there is no such thing as like, oh, I should kill myself because I'm so sad. No.
It's either like, oh, it's my fault and I need to get better because of it, or I need to fucking kill you. And you got to respect that to a certain extent, right? Like,
oh yeah,
it's a growth or it's a problem I have control over, And to me, in my personal life, like that's a really big growth point that I had in my life, where it's like, you got to have your understanding of sphere of influence and what you don't have control over.
Yeah.
But
Well, how he did that in a cold manner, I thought was actually really cool. So yeah, that's that is why I'm definitely a Xenos fanboy.
We're gonna have to get back to our Xenos rant in the next episode.
Yeah,
well, yeah.
We're gonna do a whole Xenos episode.
That's why it's gonna be it's gonna be its own little segue area. But okay, so we get done with that. We move into like right after that. We come into the cutscene where we're talking to Heidelin. She is excited to see us after all this time and understands who we are.
I got goosebumps at this moment. Like, I know I remember exactly where you mean in the cutscene. I got goosebumps. I'm like, oh yes, let's do this.
Yeah, and you know, for a lot of people, not just us, but for a lot of people during this build-up, we all thought that there was a chance that Heidelin was evil.
Prior to this, I did, and yes, you can go back to the prior podcast, and yes, I was in that fan mode, if you will.
It wasn't
like now, in the moment, dude. I was like, drum roll, please.
Look,
what's going on?
We can all say it. We can all say it. They know what they fucking did. They know what they did. They were like, "Oh, that's right, you killed Zodiark," and here's this ominous female voice that you don't recognize. They fucking know what they did.
Oh, absolutely.
Like textbook bait and switch.
Because
at that too.
Up until we go back to Elpis and we see how Heidelin actually becomes Heidelin, we don't get it. Why did you tear the worlds apart? Why did you do this to us? Why did you make us weaker? And it wasn't until going to Elpis and understanding we can only interact with Dynamis and stop Meteon because she tore the worlds apart.
She sundered us. Yep.
Yeah. And we saw the hubris of the ancient civilization.
Yeah.
Where they were all like, no, we're perfect. We don't need to be any different.
Yeah.
We just need to sacrifice ourselves to Zodiark and everything will go back to the way it should be. And it's this sad moment where you're like, they just won't accept it.
Yeah.
And it's because they won't accept it that she does what she does.
Yeah.
Fuck, she's so
That
cool.
was the craziest part. Like, dude, I didn't oh man, in my notes I have like all fucking caps. Like, Venat was the one who sundered us all.
Yeah.
Like, dude, I was sitting there reeling for a good minute or so. Like, oh my god.
This is the portion where they show what she did, like in Amarat, which is just like holy balls. Like she goes from literally murder suspect to holy shit, John Wick's here, and we're about to get wild. But I love the explanation. I love that. Hey, we needed to be sundered in order to interact with Dynamis.
Yeah, we need to learn how to walk before we
great.
can fly.
There is never this moment where she's like, I'm not going to apologize for what I've done.
No,
I have screwed all of you over. I've ruined your lives. I've put you through hell. I've made life across 13 reflections harder. And a lot of you are going to die and suffer and never understand why.
Yep.
And I am willing to accept that you will hate me for that.
Yeah, because it needed to be done.
And not to jump the gun or anything, but man, does that really get personified in the final cutscene? Like, holy shit! Like now, actually, because in the moment when I was like watching it in the playthrough and whatnot, I was like, holy shit! But like, I've rewatched it now, and like how things really pull together. Like, dude, it's really deep. How it's like the burden of her. Like, she really does take it on for all of the shards, you know?
Yep.
How many thousands of years has she waited for us to be born?
To be there. Yeah, to be in front of her.
And she doesn't like, I don't think she even recognizes us by that point anymore.
No, she doesn't.
Well, but by that point right there, that like the I guess symbology of her like walk in that I guess ethereal plane, you know, where she's doing her walk and whatnot. That I feel that is the symbology of like this, the length of time that like literally this is what she's gone through and dealt with to wait for us to get to where we are now, to wait for us being the chosen actual warrior of light to, you know, end the cycle and like, dude,
finish this thing.
Yeah, that was deep.
So then we get to one of the best holy fuck it's happening moments. Cutscene ends, and what do we have in front of us? The option to do the trial with your boys and girls.
Yes!
Oh my fucking god. So Ez was ahead of me. I don't think I reached out to you, Ez. I had a buddy I reached out to because he's probably maybe 30 minutes ahead of me at this point.
Yeah.
And I get to this moment, he's online, and I go, you do it with a trust, or did you find a group? He goes, I waited to find a group for 10 minutes before I realized that would be the worst mistake ever. And I went with the trust. And I was like, yes, let's fucking do this. Okay, I ended up doing this as Sage, and I probably should have switched to Astro. As did you do it as Pally?
Oh, yeah.
Okay,
Oh, yeah.
So you had Astro and Sage for your healers. So what does Graha play when he's DPS?
I don't know, Graha things.
Oh yeah,
he whips out the staff and does things.
I don't know what he plays.
I know. I don't get why everyone hates the trust system, because it's like, oh, I'll just follow them. They know what they're doing.
Yes.
And I don't die. It's like I get that it's a little slower doing trust, but it's like I don't wipe.
Yeah, I think one of those
moments
moments
for not knowing things.
I think a large portion of the community was just probably so taken aback because there was no mention of this whatsoever. So we had no idea that this was coming. And
I genuinely wish that the trust thing was something for Zodiark and the final trial boss as well.
Yeah,
because those were my big time gates.
Yeah,
because I was so ahead of just like, I guess, the general player base that I got to Zodiark, nothing but tanks.
Yep.
I had a queue that was like, this is going to be over an hour long if you're waiting for this. And I'm like, I'm not fucking doing that. I'm just going to wait for people to catch up tomorrow. Because,
it's not worth your time.
Yep.
And then I get to Heidelin, and it's like, you can do this shit with your trust. And I'm like, fuck.
Yes.
Yes, I can.
Nox, you die at all?
Well, I did not do it with the trust.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yes, I fucking died.
What influenced that
like
decision?
A multiple party run. Oh man. I was like, I figured it was like gonna be, like this would be the fastest route to go. Because
sure.
I was actually a couple days behind you guys.
Yeah.
Overall, in the perspective of things, I would say I'm probably like, at this point in time, I think I was like maybe 3-4 days behind you guys at this point. But yeah, I just threw it out there, and it was a little painful, but overall, I enjoyed the experience. It wasn't anything like annoying.
Sure.
Such a cool fight.
Yeah, it's a regular. I mean, it's just like any other trust, like with Zodiark and whatnot. So I died 3 times. I did it with the boys, but I did it as a Sage as well. So we had 2 Sages because Alfie does not change, that was definitely a little awkward. So on one of them, my first pull, it was literally we just lost too many people, and then I ended up dying from lack of heals. And then my second death, I did not know you cannot run out of that arena without instantly dying. And I wiped at 13%.
Oof.
And I was really upset because, you're deep in that fight if you're with the trust and you're at 13%. That is that is not a short fight to say the least. So I thought it was a fantastic fight. I honestly, I even appreciate the EX one even more. Holy shit.
EX, Zodiark, and Heidelin are amazing fights.
They're so good.
If I had a regular group to do them with, I would be doing them way more often. I hate bugging.
Yeah, it has not been a fun experience. I think...
Oh, I can attest to that.
Yeah, I think because this is about the MSQ and not what's going on in the game, let's not tangent that one because I've got a lot to say and it's not all positive. But so we kill her, and then we get to the next cutscene. was not really ready for what happened.
Yeah.
Great to get an explanation. Great to prove ourselves. Which
Yeah.
fantastic. You know, it
the
really.
fact that we need to consume the one that has been our guide through all of this the entire fucking
Not
time.
even
like,
not even consume, just like
That was it.
to rest.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah, she was done.
You have to, like, I'm going all out. Like, you have to kill me to show me you're ready.
Yeah.
Because if you can't beat me, you're not beating her.
Yeah.
Well, so what I equated it to was like ghost stories where ghosts will stick around because they have unfinished business and then they pass on when they want to. That's kind of how I view that moment. She was ready to move to the afterlife, kind of like how you have to make the decision. Yeah, you have to make that decision when you're a part of the council of the convocation, because remember, when you give up your seat, most of them are because they've finished their duty and they move on, but she decided not to, you know. So this was her moment to finally be like, I've finally finished what I was here for.
See, damn. Yeah, that's crazy to put it that way, because, like, thinking of how long she's basically been, like, kind of fermenting,
Thousands
if you will.
of years.
Like,
Yeah.
damn. And she's basically like, now I can finally just, rest. Like, that's, like,
Huge.
you are the warrior of light that's actually proven to me that I can, like, relinquish this title to you, like, to actually let you take the reins. Like, that's deep.
You're ready. Like, this is, I could not have prepared you any better, and I love that. And that was her final line. Is my moment of like, I'm so sorry for everything I've said about you behind your back. Like, because like,
trash talked you.
I'm so sorry. We all said it. We were like, she's conniving. Something's up. Can't believe this shit's happening.
But I love how they just committed to that point of reasoning, though. Like, they knew that they were setting her up to be potentially a bad guy. They stuck with it after Zodiark died.
Yep.
And they were
I
like,
totally default to your logic there, D, where it's just like, nah, Square Enix set us up. They put the female laugh there for a reason. Like, they wanted to. Like, yep.
I got even more paranoid because, like, a couple days before the expansion drops, Larry Zori dropped a video on his channel about Tataru being evil, and it was, I don't know if this is legit or he just said it to bust up the video. At the beginning, he goes, "This video is sponsored by Square Enix." And I was like, oh my god, no. So I dove further down the rabbit hole and was like very anti-Heidelin for a long time. And I thought Tataru was kind of her little proxy, if you will, pulling the strings the whole time. She says her final line and I immediately go, I'm sorry. And that final line is, my love will be with you forever, my dearest children. And it's like, fuck you. Oh shit!
When, like, that's I think that's the first time the song "Flow" plays, which is a sad theme for Endwalker.
Yeah.
And it's like, and okay, I need to know: did you guys call her Heidelin or Vana at the end?
Vana.
Yeah, thank you.
100%.
Thank you. The best choice.
Yeah, that choice is too easy.
Even as she was transformed, even as you saw that she was in a different physical state, no,
doesn't matter.
I still saw her as Vana. Like,
well, and especially since we met her,
saw through it, like
for the first time since she was an ancient, like. She was like addressed as a person, and not a god,
a deity. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. And it was.
But then you realize it wasn't a mantle she wanted. It wasn't.
Right.
It wasn't something that she like set out to. Oh, excuse me. To be, like she just. This is what she did out of what she saw as purpose.
Yep.
Oh, damn. God, excuse me. Such a good ending.
Yeah, picking Vana was my like. Recognizing you as an equal, because like we're a shard of whatchamacallit, Asm, so like she sees us as one that could be of higher value, if you will. So that was my way of being like, we're on the same playing field. Obviously she's a god now, but like we were both once portions of this society, if you will. So
yeah,
I don't know, really why I picked Vana, but holy shit, seeing her disappear was tough. to say the
heartbreaking.
least. Fucking heartbreaking, dude.
That was the second, oh god, I'm gonna cry moment.
Yeah, it was
Dude.
it was really tough. Not even gonna lie.
The point where I legitimately did cry was actually the final scene. I don't mean to transition too early if we
No,
haven't.
let's do it.
But man, like that walk, like at first I was like, what the fuck is going on? And like, I'll admit, the first time I watched it, even at the end, I was just like, what did I actually just like watch? You know?
Yep.
But like,
Oh wait, you mean the walk at the very, very end?
yeah. And like, I was just like, oh boy, like this is heavy. Like I like felt it right then and there. And then at the second time I watched it again, after like rewatching like the full cutscenes through, like having that like fresh in my mind, that dude, I that's when I legitimately cried. I was just like, holy shit.
Yeah.
I saw that as symbolism of her literally carrying the weight of all the civilizations that she's touched over the time that she actually quote unquote took that mantle to be Heidelin, you know? Like, dude, and then leading up to where we were to actually be that final piece to the puzzle, like, oh, dude, I cried, like, and it was like, holy shit, like, man,
the Vana answers walk was.
Just
dude,
perfect.
It was, it was so perfectly relayed. There was like what? There was a song, there was the background ambience, right?
Mm-hmm.
But there was no words.
Yeah.
There's nothing like being like vocally described to you other than like the song again, like the ambience. But like how they did that visually, like step by step, like frame by frame, and like man, like that, it was heavy. It really was.
Yeah, it was. They did such a killer job to really, I guess, allow you the player to really, like, we already knew the scope of how important this was, but it really, to me, that was one of the more memorable moments where I go, holy shit, this is big. You know, and that's what you want to feel in that moment. I feel like
and
the scope of the things.
And how they relayed the weight onto us as the
Yeah.
you know, the Warrior of Light, the player character, and like how they did it, not in like a specific and me Nox Infinitum, but how like they did it in like the ambiguous way that they did. Seriously, like I know I said it early on in our podcast. I think it was like part 1 or whatnot, but this was really the point where it just sealed the deal. And I never had like a media experience just it evokes so much emotion, you know. Like it was just like, holy shit, like
great fucking
And I mean, that's it. We've beaten Heidelin. She's passed on, and we go back up the Aetioscope and relay the news.
Yeah, we talked to so it's Fortuno, Kryl, and Limingway. All 3 of them are there. I think a couple of the other Loporrits are there as well. But she importantly, she told us how to use the Mother Crystal to power the vessel. So we can get there super fast to get to where we need to go to finish this thing, if you will. And you know, we end up talking to those 3, and I think what was nice is the Loporrits basically are like, all right, this is gonna be fucked. Go get some rest. We'll take care of this, and we'll when we're ready, we'll let you know. So that was nice, because that's the moment we get to pick who we want to come talk to us before everything goes down.
Okay.
Yeah.
Who did you guys pick?
Oh, I picked Broseph, of course. Grahatia.
Okay, so Grahatia.
Yeah.
I was Justinian.
I picked Alize.
Interesting.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Very different choices.
Wow.
Okay. Who's going first? Because I don't know what the other one said. I never looked it up because I kind of want to wait on New Game Plus, but I'll hear these 2.
Well, I'll be honest. I didn't like recall exactly what he said, but
sure.
It was kind of like the closure. Like I remember like how I felt off of it based on the discussion and like my chat options and whatnot. But it was basically like the bro chat from Justinian that you always wanted. You know, like he's like, this is great where we are. Like I'm glad to have experienced this with you, and I wouldn't be the person that I am without you. Like I know I'm probably paraphrasing it badly, but like. It was really like, damn, like I wish I would have taken more notes on it, because I'm looking back on it, I'm like, damn, I didn't even didn't even write anything down right there. But like, I distinctly remember it as like, man, like this is the bro, like this is the bro chat that I wish I would have had at End of Heaven's Word to know that like we're bros, you know. But you just knew you were bros. Yeah. But like now it's like, all right, man, thanks.
Yeah, finally, I feel it. I feel it inside.
Yeah.
Okay, and then Alice.
So, I agree with a lot of like what Nox was saying. I feel like each one just kind of re-ups what their character's all about when they're talking with you. Estinian is super kind of like obtuse and very forward.
Right.
And I love that about him. Okay, actually, one thing before I talk about Alize's lines, though. Does Estinian actually do the thing where he jumps out the fucking window at the end?
Yeah.
Or is that oh my fucking god.
I can't wait to watch that. Oh my god. I'm stoked to watch that.
And I'm just like, oh, damn, this is why I rolled a Dragoon as my first character. Like, oh, I fucking love you.
He's like, I'm not fucking going back to those nerds. I'm out of here.
He is the Batman of the Final Fantasy universe, all right? Like, I'm just throwing it out there now. Like, he's like, I'm out, but like, you know, there's not like some ninja poof smoke ball or anything, even though there's ninjas in this universe. But he's just like, I'm jumping out the window.
Yeah, and Alize's whole thing is like this constant fussy worrying over you in a very quiet manner. She's not nearly as aggressive about it as she used to be. But it's just this re-upping of, you know, you as the warrior of light constantly take everything on your shoulders to save the world, and she just wants you, you know, to rely on your friends, and like they're all in it together.
Wow.
I'm pretty sure there's some moment where she threatens you if you try to do some heroic fucking dumb sacrifice, because that's her thing.
Yeah.
But like, yeah, it's super sweet. And that's why I picked Alize, because I was like, Alize is like, she's like the younger sibling that looks up to you almost like you're her idol. You embody everything she wants to be.
Right.
See, that's really cool to hear, because I really did feel that from like her implications and Alphino's implications at that matter, where they just wanted to take the weight off of us. Like, they knew they could not fulfill the role that the Warrior of Light could do. But all like their whole involvement was like, okay, let me at least make it easier for you to do what you need to do. This is what I need to do, you know? Like that's really cool to hear in full circle.
Yeah. So what about Graha Tia?
Okay, this is kind of fucked up. Everything you just said about Alice, except for the final line, is identical.
Really? Wow.
Essentially, Graha, like, just he sounds tired, and he basically is saying, "I don't understand how you can carry." Yeah. He's like, "I don't understand how you can carry this much weight on your shoulder, and you need to rely on, or I want to be somebody you rely on, in order to share." And so essentially identical to what Alice said.
Alice and Graha are fucking, they're like,
they're fanboys.
Shipping them right now.
Yeah.
We're shipping them.
So the final line is the only thing that's different, and that is, you said that Alice says something about doing or not doing something heroic.
I much like Nox, it's been a while since we've had. But I'm almost
something to that.
It's like, if you try to do a sacrifice, I'll fucking kill you.
Yeah. So Graha is the exact same as the end of Shadowbringers, where he's like, I just want to be involved, and I want to be around, and I want you to be able to count on me. And so he's like, just make sure you take me on your next adventure. You know, and it's like, he just, I feel like he knows who the old Graha, I mean, obviously he's got his memories, but like, he knows where it could have gone if he didn't have to take on the mantle of Crystal Exarch and watch the tower.
You know, is it just me, or do I get more of an ominous kind of feel from that? Like, not saying Graha's like a bad guy or like whatever, but from that, I definitely get a feeling that he knows more that he's leading on to.
He could have. He spent, I mean, I don't know what the time dilation is moving to the Nordvran. I think it's 1,000 years.
When it comes to Graha, and it's why I love his character so much. And I don't know if you guys feel this way, but he's just such a solid, steady person.
Yeah.
Like, he has been through hell and back. He has led a small nation, and he's just this constant source of, no matter what, I am here with you.
Yep.
To that point, I feel like in all the interactions throughout Shadowbringers and Endwalker, I feel like the easiest way that I kind of sum him up in my mind is that he's naive to no extent, but he has wisdom beyond bounds. Like, he's so trusting to like the nth degree, but like when he actually takes that perception to read through it, you know, like he gets it, you know, and like. I don't know, like that's why I really bring it up, like about like your like how he kind of sealed the deal with you. Like I feel that Graha is going to be like a main point in character, kind of like how Lise was in Shadowbringers.
Yeah.
Like I really think Graha is gonna be a linchpin moving forward based on that alone.
Well, you got to think he's extremely educated because he spent 1,000 years of time dilation to go lead Nordvran, but never really got hands on. So he's got all that knowledge because he was always sustained by the Crystal Tower. So then coming back, he's got all that knowledge, but none of the age on him. So I feel like it almost looks like he's got a new lease on life, and he just wants to be. We helped him in such a way in Nordvran. He wants to be able to return the favor.
I genuinely love how Graha still has, after all of that time, a genuine sense of innocence to him that is endearing.
Yeah.
But I never feel like it's out of character. He is always like this steady confidence. Like, I know what I'm talking about, and you will know that I know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
No, and that's the exact reasoning why I said like nothing negative, nothing like he's the bad guy, but more so to the point where like I feel like he knows something that he doesn't know how to relate to us without coming across as the bad guy. You know what I mean?
There's got to be a conflict in the next expansion, right?
Oh, of course.
So what if Charlie knew about the final days? What if there's some big bad evil out there on these other areas that he has researched through his time in the Crystal Tower, and he's just worried about how soon it's coming?
Yep.
You know, because they got to go somewhere for the expansion. But we go and take that arc.
Star Moon Valley, aka Final Fantasy 7.0.
Yeah.
Where we become farmers of light.
We just chilled the whole time. So we go Lightspeed and we head out.
Whoa, homie.
What'd we miss?
You're forgetting one of the coolest scenes.
What'd we miss?
The Beast Tribes.
Oh, dude.
Yeah,
right. When they sealed the deal too, that was great. Oh.
And they're all of the so the Beast Tribes obviously have been cleansed of their corruption. They are no longer possessed by their gods. And they summon the purest forms of all of their deities.
And they're actually like cognizant humanoids. I want to really stress that. Like, to be honest with me, like as the player character, removing myself from the game, that opens the door of like, oh shit, are these like potential playable races like down the road? You know,
sure.
I mean, I don't think they're doing any more playable races after they put in female, what are they called? Hrothgar.
Yeah.
I think
that was just, theory.
But seeing like the actual versions of their gods that should have always been.
Oh, the flying out. You're right.
And all of the gods are still except for Susano. Susano's a bro.
Yeah.
Garuda's
Garuda's talking shit.
He's helping them. And Susano's just like there for the ride. Like,
he's like, "What's up, guys? Good to see you."
Oh, dude. Oh,
yeah, I'm sorry, I did skip that scene, and it's pretty good. I just, like you said, them being the pure form, not the tempered form, and them really understanding what we're about to embark on and what its potential is. Because realistically speaking, if we don't win, you're not here anymore because we took your ship. So some of you aren't going to make it to the moon when the Loporits used the teleport pad in Garlemald. So
even just seeing that, the corruption of the temperament was the divide. Like
right.
the ties that bind was that each of their patron races, they just wanted them to survive and thrive.
Right.
That's it. They just wanted them to survive and thrive, not to war with each other, not to fucking spill blood one way or the other against this race or whatnot. And that was sincerely great to see them really pull those ties that bind together.
Yeah, like they didn't suck all the personality out of the races. Like Garuda is still talking shit about us.
Right.
But that's not
great.
But it doesn't matter anymore because it's like, fine. At least she can understand a greater good and actually do it rather than just be squaw, kill.
Yeah. I mean, that's a pretty good description of her, actually.
I do wish Ravana had more of a cameo there.
Yeah,
though.
I do too.
Glorious combat! Like, come on, man. That's probably my favorite raid, I guess phrase or
quote. Yeah, from some of these. There's a lot. I mean, to be fair, there's a lot of good ones. There's a lot of good trials out there.
No, that is my favorite. I'm saying it. I'm crossing my line in the sand.
Fair
Ravana's glorious combat is my favorite. Like that is absolute.
So we get on Ragnarok, and then key moment, which we don't obviously know about until much later, but we get those teleport beacons, which I think really sweet that they were able to whip that up so quickly. Thanks, plot device.
Yeah.
I love that shit because I love talking about writing plots and when you should be introducing things into a story. So as soon as this is a little thing, you click it and it's like a little pocket aetheryte and you teleport back and it's like, huh. Okay.
Yeah. It's always interesting because it's subtle a lot of the times, and that's what's great. So we're getting ready. We've got the boosters, and then what happens next? We'll tell you in the next episode because that's going to wrap up this one right now. So sorry to do that 2 episodes in a row, but it needed to happen. So that's going to wrap this up. Hopefully you've been with us. If you have been this whole time, thank you so much for sticking with us. As always, do the YouTube stuff, like, dislike, subscribe down below, and comment if you want to hear any personal takes of events that we potentially missed, wherever you get your podcast. Thank you so much for listening to us. From Best in Slot Radio, I'm DDG.
I'm Ez.
And I just want to say, I did not see that coming.
Oh, my God.
Take care.